chat room, right? So that you will just bring up the questions in case, because otherwise I don't want to keep looking at the questions and also being interrupted.
Yeah. So I'll be watching the chat, and then if there is any question, I'll let you know.
Sure.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Yeah, welcome to the second training. I think we'll just give a couple more minutes before we start.
Seems like more people are coming.
Yeah. People are fashionably late.
Typical.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's give another, it's a 7:04. We'll start, latest will be 7:10. How about that?
Yeah, I was thinking 7:05.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do some intro anyway at the beginning, so probably they won't miss really the core part of your training.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think it's 7:05, so let's get started. So really, thank you. Welcome everybody for joining this training. Again, this is a second training that we have organized for the fourth Asian American Youth Entrepreneurship and Innovation Contest. This is organized by 4 organizations, and the first one is International Leadership Foundation. So I'll give a quick introduction to each of the organizers so that you actually know them. And so International Leadership Foundation is a organization established almost 20 years ago. It's in DC, and it really offers a great programs for young Asian American to help them, provide the opportunity to them for leadership, entrepreneurship, and for civic service section. And then our second main organizer is Yuan Media, and Yuan Media. I'm sorry. So let me just. I'm sure why. Okay, I can't find the file. But Yuan Media has been organizing this context for the past few years, and it is a virtual media company, and that really helps the Chinese investors in education and other type of investment. And the third organizer is a Goals for Business. It's an nonprofit organization founded by a group of high school girls actually last year, and they provide mentorship and other educational resources for girls who are interested in entrepreneurship. And the fourth one is CAPA. It's the Chinese American Parenting Association for Montgomery County, for which I am part of, and so really, I think it's really our honor to organize this context, and really the context is meant to provide the opportunity for not just the young people, but also really people across all ages who are interested in entrepreneurship and starting up businesses that would provide values to the society. And specifically, the the theme or the scope for this year is that any startup ideas that can help make a better living in like next time, say we have a crisis like COVID. So what you're supposed to do in this context is that you submit a business plan. So you don't actually need to already have a demo or something. I mean, that would always be helpful, but you're not required to do that to participate. So all you need to submit is a business plan by August 27th. And there are other detailed information about the contact you can find on the website. I think we have some flyers that we shared just over the media. So, but if anybody who do not have access to those materials and have questions, are interested in joining this, feel free to put in a chat your contact info, and so that we can reach out to you to provide further information. Okay, and then I'll just give you a quick overview of the training programs that we have organized for this year. And the first one we provided it last Saturday, and it was about inspiring youth, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And today, Nina Wang will give the second one on how to write business plan and operate your business. We have 3 ones upcoming, and in the coming Sunday and the next Wednesday and next Saturday. And so the topics are all listed here. And this is we have one new added, which is the 4th one. And so that's why I wanted to just draw your attention. That wasn't on the prior flyers or materials that we have distributed. So, but this one is really a great one. We have a very experienced investor who have been in the private equity firms for many years and many experience in reviewing business plan. So he's going to talk about from what angles the investor would evaluate the business plan. So I think it would be beneficial for anybody who is interested in doing startups or even investment, but especially if you are planning to join the context, I would highly encourage you to join that training. Okay, so without further ado, now I'm going to introduce our speaker, Nina Wang, today. And so let me stop sharing my screen and I will give you a quick introduction to Nina. So Nina currently is the CFO for Sharing OS company, and she joined this company and now serves as one of the 4 executive management team members. She oversees the planning, implementation, managing, and running all of the financial activities of the company. And she is also in charge of other back office functions for the company. Before Sharing OS, Ms. Wang was Vice President General Counsel for Green Court Capital and oversaw the company's structure designs, international transactions, tax planning, investment decisions, and post-investment management. She also maintained relationship with the investors and provided oversee real estate investment strategies. Ms. Wang has approximately 20 years tax finance experience as a tax attorney. She worked in finance and tax planning area for Deloitte and Touch, Thielen, Reed and Priest LLP, IBM, Lockheed Martin Corporation, and Computer Science Corporations. Many of those companies are really famous big companies that I think many of us are familiar with. Ms. Wang has an honors bachelor degree from Nanjing University and earned her LLM in taxation from New York University School of Law. She is a member of the New York State Bar and a CPA licensed in New York State. So with that, I'll hand this over to Nina so that she can provide the training to all of us about how to write a business plan and how to operate and manage a business.
Thank you, Yinxia. First of all, thank you everyone for coming to this training. And I knew many of you have already attended the first one. I believe the first one was very inspiring. And today, you know, of course, after you hear all the inspiring stories, you want to say, okay, I'm going to do something, right? And today I'm just giving you some tools for you to start your journey on the entrepreneurship. The stuff I'm going to teach today could be boring, but just like all those other knowledges, the skills you want to learn, always starting with something pretty boring because you have to dive in. And like I said to my son, nothing is fun until you're good at. All right. So I'm just, I will provide you the tools, and so that you know how to make your business idea to become a reality and to generate some fruits, right? So with that, and by the way, also just as Yinxia mentioned, this year's entrepreneurship innovation competition, I actually was on the board. I'm still at the board for 4 years. This is our 4th year. So the typical form is, you know, you get the training, get the tools, get an idea, and then you started writing your business plan. So as Yinxia mentioned, yes, we have all the information at our website, and then you can check, but I just give you a little, you know, framework so that you know what you are getting. First of all, you need to write a business plan, okay? And I'm going to cover today what you need to put on your business plan. And once you submit your business plan, the business plan, you know, that's the first step. It's due, I believe it's August 27th. That's a deadline. So before that, you need to submit your business plan, and your business plan will be reviewed by a committee, and then I forgot, probably, I can't remember this year, so how many teams will be selected from all the business plans submitted. You know, so all the top ones will be selected. I think probably 6, 7 teams. I cannot remember, or maybe 5. I cannot remember. Probably 5. I can't. So once those teams be selected, and you need to prepare the presentation, just like you present your idea to the VCs, to the investors, and you will have a very limited time to convince your investors, okay, this is a really good idea, you should invest me. So then the competition will have these 2 parts, and writing and the presentation, both will give you different scores, then add together, then we get to all those 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th places, etc. Okay, so that's the general competition. With that, I think I'm going to start it, dive in today's training. All right. And before the training started, and I will actually just let me share how many sections I'm going to talk, and then each session, I will pause at the point, then let you ask questions. Bear with me. That's the stock sections here. All right. So can you see my screen well? It's okay, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So this is basically is how to run your business operation and how to manage it, right? This is my background that Yinxia has already given a nice introduction, so I don't have to repeat. Again, just I'm a tax lawyer and a CPA, so been working on the tax as well as the recent 5 years been running a startup company. All right. Okay, here's what we're going to cover. So first part is building your business plan. So basically we'll tell you all the elements that you need to put into your business plan. And the second part is the business formation. I'll just give you the idea. Once your business plan, you think it's formed and it's doable, then you can start your business formation, right? We'll give you all the elements. So what do you need to be aware? And then one of the most important factors will be your financial operation, because you need the money to run your business. And oftentimes, first of all, you need it in order to convince your investor. The reason you want to convince your investor is you want to get their money, right? Because without their fund, it's hard for you to run your business, start from scratch. And then you need to nicely let your investor know, okay, here is my budget, and why do I need this much money? And your investment would expect how much return to in, so that somehow people will get the idea for your financial operation. That's very key, and every successful business has to have a very solid financial operation. And part 4 will be the business management, like who will be take what role, CEO, CFO, and who will be do the sales and marketing, etc. So I'll just give more detail. So part 1 will be the business plan. Here is a basic business plan template, all right? And you should have executive summaries to basically say, okay, here's what we need to do, and what is the result, etc. And then the second part normally would be the business and industry overview. And the third would be market analysis and competition. And fourth, sales and marketing plan. And the fifth, normally you will see what's your ownership and management team. And sixth, operation plan and financial plan. So those are the typical 7 parts of your business plan, okay? And executive summary and the business industry overview, those are pretty self-explanatory, right? So you need to have a summary about your plan, just like, the first page, always your executive summary that you can give to someone, just add 1 page, tell all your stories, all the highlights. And then people, if they're interested, they will read the rest of the pages, right? And then your business industry overview, you want to see why this is a good industry and has to be, something interesting and inspiring and a growing industry. You don't want to get into the business, actually, it's a sunset. You'd like to have something that's a sunrise and going forward. Market analysis and competition, it's very, very important, because one thing, people said, okay, I'm good because my product is so unique. Nobody, I'm just the first one in the market. I don't have a competition. That normally is not investor want to see, because they would say, okay, how do I know this is the right one? And why should I, something like that. I'll just go into the detail when we're talking about this. And the whole things, I think market analysis and competition and sales marketing plan are very important, very, very important elements. So I will give a more, I will tell you more in those 2 sections. Then the 6 and 7, I will just as a separate topic after this business plan template, all right? Let's move on. So here is a typical market analysis and competition. So you normally have to define your target market for your products or services, all right, in your area, locally, globally, or nationally or globally. So you have to define your market, and you need to describe the needs of your products and services. All right, then you need to have the estimate, the overall size of the market, and your business products, the size, the unit, and the target market might be buying, right? Buying this, and potentially you need to have a repeat purchase volume. All right, so those are the elements you need. Then also estimate the volume and the value of your sales in comparison with any existing competitors. Then describe helpful barriers to entry this that may protect your business. Sometimes, if you have some unique technology, and if you have your employee, special skill sets, your location, right? So what we're trying to say is you need give your investors, say, hey, this is a growing industry, and here is my market, and here are the big competitors, the big players. And see, once we have the players in the market, you can tell them, see, this is the concept has already been proved. There is a market. And you admit that, okay, yes, fine, there's the competitors, but I have something unique that I can compete with them. Either I have a special skills, or I have a cheaper cost, right? I can use a cheaper cost, or I have some sort of a secret recipe to improve the products, etc. Right? So in your this part analysis in your business plan, you need a list. Okay, your competitors, like for instance here at the bottom, you say, okay, competitor A, competitor B, and yourself, and your estimate, annual revenue, how much, and how many employees, and their price range, high, low, etc., and the quantities if you're selling products. Right? This is just an example for the products. And if your services is similar, people are providing services, they all, selling by license, etc. So you still can charge them. Right? So this is this part. And then next one is about your sales and marketing. And oftentimes when you have a good products, some business, they were not successful just because their sales team is not very good, and they have not done a good marketing, right? Isha, probably you can mute all the audience. Yeah, mute everybody. That way, just don't get distracted. So when you do the sales marketing, right, it's very, very good, very important, because you need to nicely present your products and the services, whatever you're selling. So you need to, basically describe your product, the services, why it's beneficial to the customers, and how your items can be set apart from competitors, right? As I said, you have less, cheaper, you have some unique functions, etc. Then you need to have some pricing strategy, right? Because sometimes if you're new players in the market, you probably want lower your cost, lower price, or sometimes you even give them to try as free. Once people use your stuff, okay, they think, oh, that's great. And gradually you can put it in, right? Or maybe you have a very nice stuff, you can compete, beat up other competitors. You said, okay, I'll set up the high price and tell them, this is such a wonderful place. You have to do it, otherwise you miss a huge, right? So you need to have a pricing strategy. And sorry. And you need to say, where is your sales channel? How you're going to distribute, and you probably will do the ads, or your, the packaging. Like for instance, some people said, okay, I can buy stuff from Amazon and sell. Yeah, fine. Then you probably have to have, okay, where to store your assets, right? Where to store your assets, and how to ship, and what's your shipping cost, that kind of things. You just need to consider in this section, in this area. And then the commercial, the promotion, right? Either website, email, social media, and newspapers, or, currently our Chinese community will use WeChat a lot, and flyers, brochures, something. You need to find a effective commercial and promotion way, because otherwise how people know your stuff, right? So that's the section 4. Normally you will need to do the sales marketing plan. You need to put it in your writing. So let me just back up a little bit, right? Here's what I'm just give to you, the overall, the 7 elements for a complete business plan. You need to put it in, and I just touch more in the marketing and the sales and marketing plan, right? The competitor market analysis. And later on, I would spend more time on the operation and finance. And so at this point, I can pause for a second. Anybody has questions?
Yeah, Nina, no questions so far from the chat.
Okay, good. So let's move on. Okay. So once you have a nice idea, right, you want to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I really believe this is a good idea. That time you need to think, yeah, fine. Then you cannot say, okay, I'm Jennifer, and Jennifer is selling this item, right? You need a form of business. Why you need to form a business? It's from a liability perspective. You want to separate your business from yourself, right? If something, sometimes you do everything, did your best, and sometimes you still fail. Maybe you borrowed money and you claim bankruptcy, or the products have some liability issues. You want to have a legal entity to protect yourself from getting personally involved in your business failure, something like that. And also that's one purpose you have to have a business. And the second, it's just like this legal person and doing, just like, you and me individually, we work in the world, and then the business, then you need an entity to hold. You need to open the bank accounts, everything, every account you sign contract, not by yourself. Instead, it's by the company, the business entity. So we need to think about how we're going to do the business formation. Okay, when we do business formation, those are the items we need to consider. What's your business name? Do you have a trademark? And do you have a state, federal business registration and formation? Which states you're from, right? And then you probably heard a lot of companies are Delaware company, and why? Right? And you need to choose a structure. Maybe some of you have heard about, okay, sometimes you saw the company is some Apple Inc., Apple Corporation, where you see some company as a LLC. The name after name is LLC or LLP. You're probably wondering why, what's the difference, right? Which form you're going to choose. That's a structure, legal structure, okay? The business name actually is very important. Okay, I'll just give you one. Business name and the trademark is very important. I'll just give you one example. Like Apple Corp, maybe, everybody knows Apple, right? But do you know the Apple Corp and Apple Inc.? And who has a right to the trademark, right? Because when you see this image on the right here, you say, oh, that's Apple. Nowadays, everybody knows that's Apple. That's everything we're using, like Apple phone, Apple products, right? But you probably don't know Beatles actually came first with a music company called Apple Corp. And then 8 years later, Steve Jobs introduced the Apple Inc. to the world. So these two mega corporations has battled over the court for years for the name. Why the name is important? Because that's the image, right? Everybody, you see that, that's just the commercial. That's the company. Once you have a valuable, your company become big, your logo, your name becomes a very, very valuable asset to the company. Even somebody is going to buy, and this logo, the name will worth quite a lot, right? So that's why the two companies actually, they battled over the court for the name, and then the first round, Apple actually agreed to pay Apple Corp. Apple Corp is a Beatle company. The Beatle, the music company, the cash settlement to stay out of music in business. However, after this iTunes comes, the legal battle continued, and the two giants hit up again. So then eventually they reached the settlement at the higher court. So basically after Apple Inc., the Steve Jobs one, agreed to purchase Apple Corp trademark and paid a lot of money and then licensed them back to the music company. right? So this is very important, your name and your trademark. So the takeaway is you need to get a cool name, right? The cool name is short and people can remember it, very makes sense and can remember it very easily. And you need to do internet search to avoid similar names in your industry. This is very important, similar names in your industry. All right. If it's a different industry, they have the same names, don't worry about it. But in your industry, similar names, even not just the spellings is close, those could be a potentially a trouble for you. Then if you think you go big, right? Especially at a certain point of time, you have money to pay your legal services, then you should have the legal service company to handle your trademark search and application, maintain some legal, to avoid some legal issues. And United States Patent and Trademark Office has a trademark database. You also can go there to search. Just remember similar names in your industry. Search internet to find, okay, and we're good, it's better yet, you probably just make something. Make the words and nobody can really compete because there's no such words. Right, something like the Spotify, right? That's the example. Nobody will challenge the name in the music industry, all right? So that's one. The name and the trademark is very important. And next one, once you have the name, then you have to check the name with your state registration, see if that name has been taken. Then you register that. Normally state is a place you register a company. Okay, after your registration in the state, you move to the federal IRS website to apply this employer identification number. This EIN number, just like our social security number for individual, this is a business social security number. Wherever you go, this is very important, just like your ID, all right? And then next step, you open your bank account so that your investors can put money into that account instead of your own personal bank account, all right? Then otherwise, the next step is you consider, depends on your business, you probably need to get a state registration, license, permits. So those are items you need to keep in mind. Maybe at this point, it's not applicable to you, especially number 4, but that's something you need to keep in mind, right? So that's the registration. And then next question is, as I said, oftentimes you heard people registered in Delaware, and especially lots of public trade company. If you look at the registration state, it's Delaware company, right? So why Delaware company? Delaware company, because Delaware court is very established and highly respected, and Delaware offer a lot of flexibility for you structure your corporate or corporations, and like add shareholders, and you have a special allocation, and the legal how can I say, provisions, it's not as lengthy as other states, and Delaware offer a greater privacy. Investors likes to invest in a Delaware company. And nowadays, a lot of states said, okay, maybe we should change our rule, make our law more like a Delaware company, so that more people will come to register in our states, right? So, but people are still like to do the Delaware company. The con is if you're not located in Delaware, you need to pay the annual franchise tax in your operation states as well as Delaware state, and sometimes you need to do a reporting in Delaware. So that's just extra, but the cost is minimum. It's definitely manageable. All right. So this is a Delaware. Okay, and in terms of the corporate structures, should you choose LLC? Should you choose Inc? I'm only put these 2 most common structures on the screen so that you can compare their differences, all right? And both LLC and Inc can shield the personal assets from business liability. As I said, you do not want to mix your personal things with the business, all right? So that if anything happened in your business, it's not going to impact your personal assets, all right? And then that basically requires a separation business and personal finance. If it's money, it's business money, you do not use it to buy your own personal personal needs, to meet your personal needs. And both LLC and Inc. can be registered in pretty much all the states, including DC. All right. Then, oops, sorry. And LLC here, I'm talking about here now. LLC has a more flexible management structure. Okay. Then LLC has a flexible tax reporting option. They can allocate different allocations. Somebody can get more deductions, somebody get less. So you may see a lot of startup company started with LLC, and the tax benefit is LLC at LLC level does not need to pay tax. Only the owners of LLC will pay, but corporation will pay two levels tax. At the corporate level, you pay tax. And when corporation distribute a dividend to the shareholders, shareholder needs to pay tax, all right? So that's the advantage for LLC. But in terms of if you keep going big, going, to the outside investors coming and eventually go IPO and you are go global, that time LLC is not as good as Inc. All right, so that's, you have a basic idea for these two structures. And that's what I just mentioned for the tax consideration. And major tax consideration is C corporation has a double taxation, and LLC, and sometimes you also heard about the S corporations, those called pass-through entities. At business level, you do not need to pay tax. And member, that shareholder level, pay one level tax. So that's why, the takeaway is the takeaway is, for small business entities will provide personal assets protections, and LLC has more flexibility in terms of a management structure and tax flexibility, and also including deductible expenses. But if you go big, right, if you have investors and then go IPO and Globe, Inc., the C corporation is better, all right? And the good thing is, if you started with LLC, with IRS, you can check the box, treat that, become a C corporation, all right? That's that. At that time, you need a professional to help you. All right, I'll stop here before I move into the financial operation, and I'll stop here, see if any questions. And anything you want me to just give a little bit more explanation.
Feel free to just unmute yourself to speak up or put your question in the chat.
It's pretty technical, I know. And unfortunately, that's something you need to know, all right? Those are the, for your business plan, you probably say, I can start with LLC because the flexibilities, unless right now you said, I already have somebody they wanted to invest. Okay, yes. That time you just use the Inc, right?
So we do have a question from the chat from Alvin. Why do you need to meet requirements for both Delaware and your state?
Oh, when you register in a state, the state said, okay, each year, since you already registered with us, with this state, Delaware, let's say, okay, you need to update me, right? Because you can just say, I'm registered and forget about them, just gone. Then you need to update me. Okay, I'm still doing business and I will continue doing. So each year I'll pay a franchise tax to maintain my status in Delaware. However, if you're doing business in somewhere else, let's say in Maryland or Virginia, right, or whatever, California, because your business is operating in a local state, that local state for tax purpose, local state is going to charge you. The United States and also, federal and state level, each have their own jurisdiction. Wherever you have an operation where, the operations, if you have a employee, if you have a sales, and if you have OS in the office, one of the three items could trigger your local jurisdiction, and there's a term called nexus. I'm sorry, this is I know I realize I should not mention those big words. Those are pretty much law school words, but I know you're all smart. You can take this. Just remember, once you have operation, each individual jurisdiction, when you have, you leave your trace, your business trace in that states, their states always want to tax you. So that's why even you didn't register in the states, you still have to file tax return in that operation states. And meanwhile, you registered in Delaware. So Delaware said, okay, you need to update me. So that's why you need and duplicate, sometimes 3 or 4, depends on how many states you're doing business. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Nina. Here's another question from Richard. If
Mm-hmm.
our goal is a nonprofit organization, how can we still engage investors or more funding without any benefits?
Oh, that's good. That's a good question. Remember, nonprofit organization, right? Nonprofit organization, the difference between nonprofit organization and a for-profit organization is nonprofit organization does not have a shareholder, and there's no profit sharing. Those are 2 key items, right? But operation-wise, nonprofit, just a Red Cross, it's just they're running just like a corporation. You have to have a business plan, you have to have a location, you have to have a management team. For nonprofit organization, you still need to present to your donors, your contributors, all right? So that you still have to have a good operational plan, your the things you need to do, and how much money you need, how much money you're going to spend, and if you need more money and why, and maybe I'm spending $10,000 this year, but I wanted to raise, let's say, $20,000. Why? Because next year I'm going to expand the area I'm going to cover. So there's still like a financial planning, right?
Yeah, Nina, is it the case that if you're a nonprofit organization, even if you have any profit, those profit don't go to the investors?
No. And nonprofit organization, you even do not have an investor per se, or just a donor contributor, and nobody takes shares of the company.
Yeah, and I think in that case, the donors, what they're looking for is not necessarily monetary return. It's really like the public goods or the benefits you produce for the society. That's the stuff that they are interested in getting out of the company. Absolutely.
They want to see how you're organized, how you're going to operate this company, this nonprofit, and how your operation can benefit more people, right? Nonprofit, you still need money to run.
Okay, hopefully that answers your question, Richard.
Okay, good. All right, if no further questions, let me move forward. Okay, we've done this. We're talking about the financial operation. This is quite boring stuff, but is a key elements of any business operate. Just remember, financial operation, or like sometimes people think, okay, that's just accountant work, right? Accountant, the CPAs, they put the number together, it's number crunching, and that's not right. Even you are not accountant, you're not study accounting, you have to understand your financial reports, your financial operation. That way you know how much money you have, how much money you can spend, and am I doing, my budget is right, and am I doing effective work? My money is well spent and generates the most profit, something like that, right? And always financial report, like all those financial, when you look at every company, right? No matter you're invest in a public trade company or you're considering to buy company, first thing is a financial report. You need to show that to me. It's a business language. You have to understand, all right? So when we're talking about the financial operation, basically we have a capital planning, and basically we need to understand the capital planning. We need to understand the financial operation, actually how to spend the money, and the financial statements. Financial statements is a report, and you have to use this universal business language to present how well your business is running. All right. So let's just dive in to take a look. What is a capital planning stages? This one is a typical entrepreneur eventually go to the public. All right, that's the growth path. All right, so you started, like I believe all of us at this training session, I would think most of us are here. We just started, right? We just started, and it's hard to convince other people except your mom, dad. And so you normally would have angel investors. All right, you got angel investors, mom, dad support your dream, and you start working. And you could, doing very well. And sometimes most of them probably will end up to the value of death, means it didn't get through. All right, but for those survivors that keep going up, and at a certain point, once you have a break-even point, you would have like the first round of investors outside of your angel investors, your mom, dad, and somebody, maybe your mom, dad's friends, and somebody, you can show them, okay, here, I'm already break even. Then you can get a stage, like, get money from this. Then those whole, this pinkish, red pinkish area is called a seeds capital. All right. After you pass the seeds capital, your successful rate is getting much bigger. And then you move into the early stage. Then VC and merge acquisitions, VC were invested, they're probably not going to take the ownership. They take some portion, they give you money, and then keep going on, and your things are pretty good. Some large company will say, okay, I'm going to buy your company. All right, or maybe I'm partner with you. So like A and B sections. All right, and if you are very confident, you said, I will do bigger, my business will grow bigger, and you will be very careful at A and B stage, because you don't want to give up too many of your ownership, right? So you need to carefully review and get money. And then you move on the later stage. This C stage would be, it's all like the pre-IPO stage. Pre-IPO stage, you're thinking, okay, I'm getting there. And you still can get money capital into it. Somebody said, okay, I'm giving you pre-IPO amount, right? In the form of either you can take them as equity investors, or like this one, mezzanines. You probably have not heard about this. Normally, you can take them like a loan. They said, okay, I'm lending money to you as a convertible loan, and at a certain point, my loan will convert to equity before the IPO. Something like that. So you'll keep going, growing, and boom, you IPO. All right. So once you get in IPO, then everything just the IPO, then your stock will be traded in the public trade company, and you will subject to a lot of compliance, and SEC will come to monitor your move each quarter, each year. You give reports, stuff, and so that become, it's a totally, you already consider you're successful, right? Then after that, there's a public market trade. Just like I said, you start being traded in the marketplace. All right. So those are the typical capital stage, your company growing stage. So I hope all of your business will go through this, and eventually, not just stopped in the seed capital stage, and it will keep moving on. Once you break even, you will have a big, much bigger chance to be successful. All right. So that's the capital planning stage. Anybody has any questions? I think the chart is pretty clear. I'll pass here for 5 seconds. Any questions? If not, I'll move on. Okay. Here. Then you will see, okay, we're talking about financial operation. Financial operation, just basically 2 parts. You need to have a bookkeeping, then you need to have accounting, right? Bookkeeping, you just need very accurately recording your financial data. Like today I buy, okay, I buy a supply, and tomorrow I sold something. And today I paid the employee, and tomorrow I paid, I don't know, a rents, right? And then this month I sold something. You need to have a very good bookkeeping, okay? Otherwise, just will be a very messed up.
Okay, so you get in progress. Even if you're doing things that are completely different from one another, as long as like, because again, like those.
Sorry, we're trying to mute.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right. So those are bookkeeping, and bookkeeping not necessarily bookkeeping just like accurately recording financial data, but the financial data has to be interpreted and reporting, and so that people from outside can understand your operation. At that time, you need accounting, and you need like a CPA or a financial accounting professional to get your accounting book straight up, right? Because the bookkeeping, sometimes, people said, I can use Excel spreadsheet recorded in and out, but that's not enough. And we need to have a good interpretation, all right? So that's what I said, accounting is in the center, and you have all those different elements. Those are outside our bookkeeping items, right? Let's moving on. And that's what I said, for a good bookkeeping, you need to record your gross receipts, purchase, expense, assets, tax, all right? So those are the things you need to have a very good, and we have a lot of very good bookkeeping software. And some company, if they're small, they just use Excel, just record it, okay? And if you don't know accounting, don't worry. You just keep your bookkeeping, in and out, very clear. Just like, sometimes people put in the shoebox all the receipts. And if you have a credit card, you can charge in a credit card. Then you just need, put it on the paper, and then ask your CPA to give this. Okay, this is your financial statements. All the investors, they will ask, okay, what's your income statement? What's your balance sheet? All right, all your the whole showcase receipts will be translated in this financial statements. Normally, financial statements, we have 4 financial statements: income statements, balance sheet, statement of shareholder equity, and the cash flow statements. Okay, those 4 statements from different angle to illustrate your business operation, all right? So income statement is a period, report your revenue, your expense, right? So that's, okay, for instance, this year, from beginning 1 year, like January 1st to now, up to this point, or each month, your operation. All right, so that's the income statement to record a period of time. So you will see for the year ended December something, or for the month ended something. That means, okay, from beginning of the month, from beginning of the year, that's what this period of time, your revenue and your expense, and how much your net income is. And then you probably have recorded a tax or etc. So, but that's the income statement. Balance sheet, on the other hand, is a snapshot of your company's wealth, okay? Balance sheet has assets, total assets is positive numbers, and your total liability, how much you owe to the people, and your shareholders' equity. Equity means, okay, how much initially your capital injection, your investor invested, and how much your operation is. Okay, your accumulated operation, something called a retained earning. All right, so there is a connection between income statement and balance sheet. and something related to the net income, the net income number is going to transfer to your retained earning. If that's your CPS job, the two balance sheet and the income statement, those numbers, net income and retained earning numbers, needs to tie. If it doesn't tie, your book is wrong. All right, this is a very detailed for your this purpose, right? Since you have not had a training, formal training in this, you do your best. Just put all those elements on your paper. You don't have to tie, because I know you just cannot, because you don't know how to do that, right? Because that's take a semester's work to the business school. You take a semester to understand how all those elements move. But for you, you need a list of those items, okay? And next one is a statement of shareholder equity. This part is just the balance sheet, this whole section. That's your shareholder's equity. And basically shareholder will say, okay, here's a common stock I put it in, means as shareholder, I put it in at $10,000. And over, the company started last year. Last year they make money, and this year they make some money as well. Okay, then this year, at the end of the year, and I already accumulate a return, accumulated earnings this much. So add together, my total equity is this much, right? So you can say, okay, I invested $10,000, and now my total equity is $21,000. So I already make return. I already earn $11,000, right? So that's just to give you a concept. This is home equity, it's ownership equity, and the balance sheet. So this one, as I said, okay, this is a balance sheet. This is the chart I just show you here. This is chart balance sheet, and I make it smaller over here. So this one, basically, you understand one thing you need to understand: total assets equals total liability plus your total owner's equity. Add together, see this 171,900, 171,900. Only until that, your assets equals liability plus equity, your balance sheet is balanced. Otherwise, something wrong. All right. So that's the balance sheet and equity, owner's equity. This is cash flow statements is monitor your cash flow. Sometimes, like a company, your building's depreciation has nothing to do with the cash. That is not going to get into this flow. But this one, again, I'm not expecting you to do this. All right. So for your competition, just focus on the income statement and balance sheet, and try your best to make sense to get the things, number flow. All right. I know it's pretty advanced, but I'm just giving you the concept: income statement, balance sheet, owner's equity statement, cash flow statement. Those are 4 major financial statements each business has to have. All right. And I think I'm going to pause here for any questions. No? Okay. Yeah. It's too advanced, right? But again, as I said, you just keep in your mind, this whole competition sense, they just give you the concept. You don't have to get it so professional, right? And you always can search online to get an idea, and you can put a very simple ones, but as long as you show that on your business plan, we know you consider this, right? So next one is about business management.
Nina, before you move on, I actually have a question, which
Sure.
I think the participants, especially the one who is planning to attend the context, may be helpful for them. Mm-hmm. In the business plan, I believe that each business plan is supposed to show a projection of how much revenue it's going to earn and how much return it's going to earn, basically show a good, promising future of the company.
Yep.
So where is that captured in these statements that you have shown?
Yeah, here. The income statement. Income statement has a revenue sections. here is your projected revenue will be here. Can you see my my cursor?
Okay.
Right.
So this is just the 1 year.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to produce this for multiple years then?
If you have the number, if you can project it, you can do that. If you are, because each year you would have income statement for each year. Okay, you don't do the income statement for 5 years, something, right? You can say, okay, year 1 I'm projected this, year 2, year 3, year 4, all right? And you can, but it's just like, you know, for income statement, you probably want to give 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It's up to you.
Yeah. I guess what I have in mind is something like a cash flow analysis, but that may not be required here. Right?
Cash flow, if you can do it, that's fine. Cash flow basically is just a cash, monitor your cash. And the cash flow basically is also for a period of time as well. All right. So period of time as well. That's fine. The cash flow, you can go any cash items. Cash flow not necessarily is the best to represent your company's operation. Okay, still income statement for those items that are not cash related will be captured in income statement. Cash flow, again, is a good indication. Say, okay, here's how much cash I need to run this business. The biggest difference between cash flow statement and income statement is income statement, cash flow statement doesn't have like depreciation expenses. It's not showing the cash flow, right? So I think for a beginner, you could simply list, okay, here's okay, I'm going to sell, let's say, I don't know, a pencil, just for example, each pencil I'm selling for 10 cents. I'm going to sell 500 pencils. So 500 times 10 cents, that's my revenue. And I'm purchased from somewhere else. And I find a very good, cheap pencil. Okay, I purchased a pencil for 5 cents and my shipping cost is this much. You can just simply list, okay, that for each pencil I make 2 cents, right? And 500 pencils, you can do the math. That's basically you get your income statement. All right.
Right. Then I think as a starting up company, I think it can be expected that in the first year you may not be able to actually, make profit. And
That's
then
right.
next
That's
year
right.
it's better, and then the future years is going to get better. So showing kind of a projections that grow over time may be helpful. I guess.
Yep. That's right. That's right. That's very good. That's a very good point. You just show, okay, first year I didn't make money, I break even, or maybe even loss. A lot of startup company lose monies in the earlier years. Even some company go IPO, they're still in the loss position. But investors said, okay, as long as you convince them going forward in a certain year, 5 years or 10 years, or 10 years probably too long. 5 years, 3 years, I'll break even and I'll start making profit. All right. You can do that projection. All right. Thanks. And all right. If you cannot do the balance sheet, but you just try. If you cannot, understand, because it's pretty hard. All right. Any questions? No. Okay. Okay. Let's do the business management. You need to build your team. And you need build your team more like your partners, okay? Then your funding partners, then you need your management, your executive management team. And you need a human resource management, means you need a higher staff. And then in order to track talents, you need to have a good benefits, right? So those are the business management. Sorry, the slides kind of off a little bit. So those are your business management you need to consider. And that's normally your own team, okay? So sometimes, remember when you start up, those are the typical functions, okay? With a well-established company, you would have a CEO, CTO, COO, CSO, CFO, CMO, maybe you heard about those, or C-level executives, right? And each of them would have a different function. But unfortunately, when you just started, oftentimes the CEO holds every function. And, oftentimes CMO, CSO, that can be combined, CFO, COO can combine. So all depends on how you start. If you have your partners, your friends, they can cover a certain area. You think a partner together is better than yourself, just get a partner. And if you think, at the beginning, I can do by myself, I need a proof of concept, then you just need to set up a lot of things. But we recommended, and as a matter of fact, this time, we recommended you have a team to get this work done, right? So by one person, you will be limited. So that's your team, typical thing. I think you all know what this words means, right? Operation COO is a chief operation officer. A CFO is a chief financial officer. And a CEO, of course, you know that. And sometimes they have a CMO if the company is so much into marketing. You probably have a CMO. Those are C-levels. So then you want to have everybody's C-level. You could have, then you have your employees, directors, team leaders, managers, senior managers, etc. And then you need to manage your human resource. As I said, you need, once you start hiring employee, you need to have HR issues straight up. Their payroll services, their withholding tax, a lot of issues, state and federal level. Those are the things you need to consider. And there are quite lots of commercial companies that can handle your HR. So sometimes the bank offer options for small business to help you, the payroll process, all right? So those are the places when you actually started having employees, you need to hire employees. If you get to that point, congratulations, you're doing very well. I mean, once you're doing well, the things will get much more complicated. And then you'll have to deal with more issues and your business is getting bigger. So that's how you have a sense of accomplishment, right? So those are HR management. And then there's benefits. In addition for your salaries, you need to consider their benefits, healthcare plan, vacation, performance bonuses, paid sick leave, and your retirement, 401k, etc. All right. So those are the things in order to content your talent employee. And oftentimes employees are very important. It's a very valuable assets to the company, right? So I know those things are probably too early for you, but I like to give you a full picture so that, when you just start, the whole things, the whole pictures, what you will expect down the road, right? Okay, I will stop here for a second. Any questions before I move to the question? I have a little quiz. Let's see if you guys are still awake. Any questions up to this point?
No question, but people are awake. They've been chatting.
Okay, all right, that's good. They're still awake. All right, that's good. And quiz. Okay, can anyone tell me what kind of Advantage LLC company had? Anyone?
Flexible.
I gave you said. Go ahead. Do you remember the two types of corporate structures I went through? C corporation and LLC. What's the advantage of LLC?
Yeah, Alvin responded over the chat. It's more flexible.
Okay. And another key items is tax.
Right.
Okay. Tax LLC is called pass-through entities. corporate level, you don't need to pay tax. And a C corporation needs to pay tax at a corporate level as well as a shareholder level. All right, good. Next question. Normally, will your company get IPO before venture capital? Remember the chart?
No.
No, okay. Let me just remember, will your company get IPO before venture capital? No, because you normally get your venture capital, then you go IPO. Remember the chart I show you? Can just move back. That's your capital stage. Here, see all your VCs in this stage, right? All your VCs, venture capitals in this stage. And that's before IPO. Okay, once you go IPOs, you don't need a VC anymore. All right. Okay, next one. See if I have more questions. Oh no, that's it. Okay, you guys are still awake? And here is a useful website. I think you can just remember this website. It's a US Small Business Administration website. They give you a business guidance and 10 steps to start your business. And the slides, a lot of information I got from there and you incorporate it with something else. So if you didn't, I mean, a lot of information I know, it's too much to dump here, but you can always go back to check and to get an idea. I mean, again, don't be afraid. I understand, we all understand you guys are just, beginners, and also a lot of you are just a high schooler, even middle school. Last year, even some people are just like a 5th grade that joined this competition. You just learn, and even if you didn't win, don't worry. You by going through this process, you learned a lot. And you keep doing, and someday you will find the real good ideas. All these tools will just, today we mentioned will become useful, and you will use this to put into your business plan writings and convince your investors. Once you get money, so your business will boom. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Nina.
Sure.
Yeah, I think this is really, really helpful. I hope our audience definitely find it useful. So thank you all for your participation. And I wanted to also give you a heads up that our next training is going to be on the coming Sunday, 8 p.m. So I hope you all will join us there. So with that, let's give a applause to Nina, if you can.
Okay.
Feel free to use the reaction.
No questions, right? It's just pretty dry. I'm sorry, I cannot make it more fun. It's unfortunately that's we need to get roll your sleeves. You have to get work done before after you get so excited, you still have to put your work done, right? Okay. Great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think with that, we'll close our meeting. If any of you have any question, I think we can still remain for another few minutes. But otherwise, yeah, thank you very much for participating.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Well, good.
Good. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I know.